What's up, everyone? This is Raine Cruz, and it's time for the Raine Check with UNF Rising Star, Axl Malibu Gangster Conrad. Hi, Axl. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you, Rain?
I am doing good. It's great to have you here on the Rain Check because it's been a while since I have seen and announced you. How have you been since your last fight back in November of 2024 at UNF 21?
I've been doing well. I sustained an injury in December, about a week after that fight at jiu-jitsu. I think I broke my arm, uh, tore some tendons in my elbow. Got caught with something in training. Had to take almost 3 months off to heal that, and then came back into training around mid-February. So about 2.5 months off, and then I've just been. I was supposed to fight actually this month, but my opponent, he pulled out. So now I'm just gonna get ready for May. And everything's been good though. Just been working and training.
Oh, okay. So wait, so are you not fighting anymore at UNF 24?
Um, no, I'm fighting
Oh, you are fighting.
Jason. I'm fighting in May. I'm fighting in May. I was supposed to have a fight this month too, next weekend, but my opponent pulled out. But no,
Mm.
I'm fighting next month.
Ooh, okay. Well, speaking of your upcoming fight next month, you have to fight, or you have the opportunity again to fight for another victory at UNF 25 then next month on March 31st at Commerce Casino. Now, this is going to be your first bout of 2025 and your sixth career bout. Now, you talked about your opponent pulled out from the upcoming UNF 24 bout. How excited are you now, especially since you have a few bouts that got canceled earlier in this year? You have another one coming up in on May 31st.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This guy is gonna come game. He's a worthy adversary. Ryan tried booking this fight between us in March actually, but at that
Mhm.
I didn't want to fight him at that time yet because he was 0-3 and he had been put away in two of those fights, and I wanted to see him, make something happen. And but he's coming off of a knockout, so he's done something now. So it's a good fight, and I see myself putting him away inside two
Mhm.
rounds, but it's good. I'm looking forward to the fight, and he's gonna show up, come to fight, and I was supposed to fight on March 1st too, but unfortunately I came in a little heavy. Had gotten the flu a week before I started my cut, and then I ended up putting that weight back on, and it just too much of a cut. It made it kind of unmanageable, And then I came in four over, so my opponent and his team said no. That's ultimately, I'm gonna take that one. That's my fault. But yeah, it's just been hard. Had a couple fights fall through this year. I was gonna fight Edgar too, and then we couldn't agree on the time. Because I'm on the cusp of going pro. This is most likely my last fight as an amateur if I put him away inside 2 rounds. So I need to do 3 minute rounds. I can't be making the transition from 2 minute rounds to 5 minute rounds. It's just too much. So and he wanted to do two. We wanted three. So it's just fights haven't been materializing, but
Mhm.
so for me to have not fought in 6 months is this is the most time off I've had from in a fight since my debut to my second fight. My
Mhm.
last year I was fighting literally every 3 months, to every 2 3 months. So that's how active I plan. That's how active I plan on staying. And but it's good. I'm gonna. This will be a good fight.
That's good. Yeah, I remember seeing you a lot last year too. And whenever I see you, man, you always have that big smile on your face because I feel like you love what you're doing, right? So for you though, like you mentioned, this is kind of like a long time off for you. You've had bouts that got canceled. Does that kind of cause some sort of like frustration on your end though when you're like, okay, I've trained for this bout, now it got canceled. You trained again and then fight got canceled again. Like, do you get frustrated when that happens?
Yeah, definitely frustrating. For sure, because I was training, I was well prepared. But it didn't. As far as my preparation, it didn't really change anything because I'm in the gym regardless.
Mm.
Preparing for fights. just trying to stay active and definitely frustrating though because I think those were all winnable fights, you know, and I think I would have won those fights, but it's on my it's the missing the one where I had missed weight was that I got to take the I got to take responsibility for that because yeah, I do think if that guy was about it and he was game to fight, he wouldn't have said no over 4 pounds. But at the end of the day, I did miss weight, so I kind of, you know, excuse my language, but I kind of fucked up
Mhm.
on my end. So, yeah, definitely frustrating, and it's gonna make this fight that much more. You know, I'm looking forward to just getting back in there and doing my job and performing at a high level.
Woo, that's exciting. And it's going to be on May 31st at UNF 25, which is going to be another monumental event for Up Next Fighting. You've been fighting for UNF since 2023, and you've had 5 fights so far at Up Next Fighting. How
Yeah.
special is it for you to be a part of this monumental UNF event? Because it's a 25th event of UNF. So it's going to be special and it's going to be big.
Yeah, no, it's a big deal. UNF definitely appreciate what they've done for me and how they've helped me, you know,
Mhm.
establish my career. I've only fought with them, as you know, so and they've always gotten me good fights, you know, because I'm not here to fight. I don't want to fight bad fighters anyway, guys that I don't see as high level and experienced. And every fight I've had has been against, I think, against good opponents, tough guys, and you know, I can't really ask for anything more. Grateful for good competition and had a few that didn't go my way, but
Mhm.
I've only lost split decisions, so yeah, I definitely this is gonna be great. You know, looking forward to camp is in full effect right now, and gonna be well prepared and trained up and ready to go out there on the 31st and put this guy away.
Ooh, okay. You mentioned your camp. You train at Axe Academy and Pugilist Gym. Now, I see a lot of you guys at our UNF events. You know, Axel, when I see you and your teammates, I don't just see like a group of guys. I see I see like a brotherhood. You know,
Yeah,
these guys are like really bonded. I see that great like this great team, right, from your gym. Um, how does that motivate you when you have a group of guys that don't just see you as like sparring partners? They see you as like their team member, you know, their brother, and then you have a very supportive coach. Shout out to Thor, by the way. How does that
yeah,
motivate you?
love Thor. Yeah, definitely. You know, it adds it makes it a lot better. You know that we have that camaraderie. We're all in full support of each other. We're for each other.
Mhm,
We want to see each other win, and usually it's not just one of us that have a fight. When one of us are in camp, there's usually multiple of us in camp when we have when there's fights lined up, you know. And I
mhm.
know that a few of my teammates are actually on this card with me. Shout out to my boy Weston Kiro's former champ. He's fighting alongside me on this card. I think Danny might be fighting too. Danny Lavastida, and I know Paul's been trying to get a fight. He's healthy. He's been looking great. Um, yeah, so it like I said, we're all in full support of each other. It makes it
Mhm.
and we want to see each other win, you know. So we push each other really hard every day when we're in the gym, when we're training, when we're sparring on Mondays. We have our fight team sparring on Mondays with the group at Pugilist, and yeah, it's hard rounds. You know, everyone in there is really skillful, game, tough, and we're throwing good punches and kicks at each other, and just you know sharpening each other up, getting each other ready for our fights, and then over at Axe, a lot of high level jujitsu competitors. If I mean our school over at Axe is just filled with fighters and competitors. If they aren't excuse me, if they aren't a fighter, they're a
Uh,
jujitsu competitor. So there's very few hobbyists there, and it just makes it the training that much more intense. You know, everyone's really good, so it's great. You know, I'm grateful to be able to train where I do. You know, I believe
oh,
I train at the best gyms and I have the best coaching. So yeah,
that's
it's great.
good, man. Because I feel like Like for me, I train in Muay Thai. I know I'm not trained to be a fighter, but
Yeah.
Taco Padilla actually encouraged me to start training. And
Oh,
for
that's
me,
dope.
it's like, even though it's like, I have to go to like an early morning class, it's like because I found like a gym, right? That's very supportive. And my coach is amazing. It helps me kind of get up in the morning, right? Even though it's like really early, I work late nights, whatever. It helps me to wake up in the morning because I know once I get to the gym, I have like a great coach. I have like great team members. And I feel like it's the same for you, right? Especially for you guys. You guys train so hard. But I feel like when you have a group of guys and team members that motivate you, it pushes you to wake up in the morning, go to the gym, train hard, and then you feel like really satisfied afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's nothing better than a hard training session, and multiple hard training sessions throughout the day. Cause I train usually 2 to 4 times a day. So,
Mm,
um, yeah, no, it's like you were saying, you feel really good afterwards after putting the hard work in, and then just knowing that you made yourself better, and then it's part of for me, it's part of my lifestyle. It's a huge part of my routine, fighting.
mhm.
So if I don't get my training in, yeah, I'm not my headspace is I'm not myself, so I need to train, and it's really important for me, especially when I have a fight lined up. I need to be in the gym at least 5, 6 days a week.
Oh, wow. 5, 6
Yeah.
days a week, and then, like, you said you train, like, 4 times a day?
Well, 2 to 4 times a day.
2 to 4 times.
That's when I'm in camp for sure. So there's times where life can kind of get in the way, and I might only be in the gym 3, 4 days a week. But when I am there, I'm always training. I train multiple times a day, like I said, 2 to 4 times a day, depending on the day. But
Oh.
Mondays are always highest intensity day. Sometimes I'll train as many as 5 times a day on Monday. I actually got sick a couple weeks ago from overtraining on Monday. It kind of compromised my immune system, and then yeah, so I actually sometimes need a and then I had to take a week off because I had stuff in my throat. I was just I just didn't feel good. I was kind of sick. So, but it's good. I'm healthy now and preparing for this fight. So
That's
yeah,
good, that's good. So you mentioned, earlier about, jujitsu, training in jujitsu. I saw a video of you, training, with Nate Diaz, training jujitsu with Nate Diaz. How
yeah,
was that experience for you? And then how did you transition from training in jujitsu and now into MMA?
yeah. So Nate's really cool. That was 3 years ago. We trained together while when I was under John Jack. He used to be my jiu-jitsu instructor. But some things happened. Kind of had a bit of a falling out. I have respect for him. He taught me my foundation, taught
Mhm.
me a lot of jiu-jitsu, helped develop my skill set. But yeah, that was great training with Nate. Really cool guy, really high level black belt. And for me, the transition to MMA was inevitable. I knew it was going to happen sooner or later because I started training jiu-jitsu to get myself to a certain level, develop
Mhm.
high enough skill set to be able to use my jujitsu in my fights. And then I just obviously had to pick up my boxing, hone my boxing. But
Mm.
when I transitioned to pugilist about a couple years ago, and nowadays I actually spend more time training my boxing than I do my jujitsu. Not because I don't love jujitsu. Jujitsu is I'm gonna train jujitsu until I'm dead. Honestly, until I until I can't anymore because it's so fun, and it's just, I love the technical aspect of it, and I play a very technical game, and setting up chokes from anywhere, from the bottom, from the top, from the back, joint locks, and kimuras, arm bars, whatever it is. I can wrestle pretty well too. So jujitsu's always been that's my foundation. I've been
Mm.
training jujitsu about a little over 5 years now, and I've been pretty consistent with it, and especially the first 3.5 years I'd started training. Before I started training MMA, I was training my jiu-jitsu 2 to 3 times a day, literally every day, if not at least once a day for 6 days a week. So I just it started I started picking up and getting pretty good at it, and it feels like a game of chess playing it, and it still always does. So yeah, I knew that I was gonna transition to MMA eventually, and I just had to get I just had to compete in jiu-jitsu first and get good enough with the jiu-jitsu before I would put myself in a cage and put my life on the line, if that makes sense,
Mm.
because it's a lot more dangerous when people can try and knock you out and kick you in the face and kick you in the leg, punch you in the face. So yeah, I like to utilize my jiu-jitsu, and in my last fight, as I was able to lock up that first round submission. And it's funny, I was actually planning on boxing with that guy, and that guy's a good kickboxer. Nothing against him. He actually was a good challenge until it wasn't. But he said something at Wayne's first one to shoot's a bitch, so I had to check his grappling just because he said that, and because I was gonna box with him, to be honest, and I was boxing with him, but after he said that, I knew that I kind of just sensed a weakness, and I said, okay, well now I'm gonna shoot and take you back and choke you. And my other fights too, I was trying to put those guys away with the. I took everyone's back except Moises in my fourth fight.
Mhm.
Uh, respect to Moises, tough, best grappler I fought so far, good purple belt, and but everyone else, I took all those guys' backs, and if I had 3-minute rounds, I think I would have finished all those fights. I don't want to make excuses because those guys were all good fighters, tough fighters. But if you watch those fights, I mean, man, I had a triangle log deep on my first fight, and then
Mm.
another one, and the bell horn, the bell rang, and then my second fight, I took Brian's back, had a body triangle laced, ran out of time when I started the body triangle, and then against Nestor had really good defense, but
Mhm.
there's no excuse I didn't finish any of those fights. I'm 2-3 right now on paper, but I think I could easily be 4-1 or 5-0. My losses are decisions. So even in the Moises fight too, that was a tough fight. He came game, but I think I won the first and third round of that fight. He took me down a few times, won the second, got some good leg kicks in, but I landed like 30 headshots in that fight. I was doing a lot of work with my boxing, so it's all good. On to the next. That's why I don't want these fights to go. I'm always going in there with the intent of putting my adversary away, looking to finish the fight and take him out. Because I don't know. I don't know what it is with these judges. I think they're good, but man, I don't know. I don't want these fights going to decision.
Mhm.
I just got to do my job and put them away.
And I'm glad you mentioned your last victory, right? Because it was a round one submission, 2 minutes and 4 seconds in round number one. How special was that victory for you? Because that's like your very first submission win in your MMA
Yeah.
career.
Yeah, first and my first finish too.
Huh?
Surprisingly, I can't believe it took me 5 fights to get my first finish. But like I said, these guys are. I haven't fought any slouches. Everyone's been good. Everyone's been tough. My first fight, my debut against Wimlin actually was at 170 pounds, and I weighed in at 160. I was 168 or 167 at the time, and by the time we both stepped in there, he was 20 pounds heavier than me, that's a huge weight discrepancy. And I was he was obviously the better kickboxer. I was the better grappler. If as you can tell from the fight, I mean, I took him
Mhm.
down 4 times, locked up a couple of submissions, took his back. He beat up my leg on the feet, kicked me in the mouth. It was a tough fight, but those are the kind of I mean, that fight couldn't have set me up more than it has for my career and prepared me any more than it has for any tough fights because that to this day is still the hardest fight of my life so far, and
Mm.
it made every fight after that, even the harder fights after that, easier because I'd been in there with someone as tough as him, and he was coming off of a second round knockout against the guy that guy Khalil. So
Okay.
yeah, it's good. It was really important for me to get that finish last fight because I didn't want another decision. I didn't even a decision victory. I'm always looking at like I said, I'm always looking in there trying to going in there trying to finish the fight and put these guys away. And it was nice to when I locked up that arm, I laced his arm, so I gave him only one arm to defend the RNC, and
Mhm.
I knew I still had a minute to work on the time, and I was just thinking, oh, he's done at this point. He's done. He's not because that's something I've always done. Actually, when I take the back, I like to lace the arm and give them
Mhm.
only one hand to to defend the choke because it's a lot easier to defend a rear naked choke when you've got both when you can answer the phone and you've got both your hands at your chin. So when I laced that arm and gave him only one hand to fight the choke, I knew it was just a matter of time.
Wow. Wow. So I can't wait to see that again on May 31st, Axel. I'll be waiting for that.
Yeah, for sure. That or another or a knockout,
Uh-huh.
because I think I can beat this guy anywhere realistically. I think he has some good stand up, but
Mhm.
honestly, I've watched his fights and I think he gets kind I've watched a few of his fights. I think he gets kind of undisciplined, a little reckless. He tends to swing, and
Mm.
if you're gonna swing and load up against a boxer like myself with my precision and technical ability, I'm gonna find his chin. I'm gonna create openings, and I just don't think it's a good idea to load up on someone like me because I throw very straight punches down the pipe, and I wouldn't overextend on someone like myself. It's not because I throw in combination, and yeah, I think this guy's he's he's tough. He's gonna come game, but I think he's in trouble, to be completely honest. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's a fight.
Mm. Yeah. Can't wait on May 31st for your next bout, Axel. Now, just listening to you, man, I hear someone who's very knowledgeable about fighting. You are a young fighter who's very blessed to have the team that you have at Axe Academy and Pugilist Gym, and being with a top-notch promotion like Up Next Fighting. So for you, Axel, what is your ultimate goal in this world of combat sports?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say my ultimate goal is obviously the
Mhm.
UFC, but in order to get there, I need to win these fights right now as an amateur, so I can put myself in a position to go pro. And over the course of the last, I think I've been fighting just over a year and a half. Made my debut in September of 2023, and it's April now of 2025. So on the cusp of finally going pro. I'm a fight or two away from going pro. If I do what I'm supposed to do on the 31st and I bury this guy and finish him, then I'm gonna go pro. And then my career really, I look at my career as that's when it really starts. Not that it hasn't started already, but these amateur fights have helped me prepare for the professional scene. And like I said, I've only fought good fighters to this point, so I'm grateful for that because I'm not here to fight slouches. I don't want to fight
Mm,
fighters that I don't see as a challenge, because that's what that just incentivizes me to work harder in the training room too, to knowing that I'm preparing for skillful um, opposition. And so the goal I would say is, I want to stay undefeated for as long as I can when I do make my pro debut. Obviously, as an amateur, I have a few skids on my record. Not as clean as I thought it would look, but I'm okay with it because it's amateur, and I know the truth honestly too. I've watched all those fights a few times, and I really don't think I lost any of those fights. But the judges did, so it's on me to go out there and finish the fight because if I put the guy away, then they can't take the decision from me,
mhm,
So
mhm,
easier said than done sometimes because these guys are hard to kill, and it's a fight at the end of the day. But yeah, I want to stay when I do make my pro debut. I want to stay undefeated for as long as possible, and then hopefully get noticed and picked up by the UFC over sometime over the next 2 3 years. But we'll see what happens. It could be a little longer than that, but and then eventually when I'm in the UFC, because I know I will be sometime over the whether it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, is to climb the ranks and then eventually someday, fight for a world title. And if not, see how far I can go in the game. That's because I'm never gonna give up on myself. I've already sacrificed too much, even in just my 5 fights and what I've been through, some of the injuries I've sustained throughout my career already, just at 23 years old in the training room, whether it's jujitsu or boxing and kickboxing, just having my legs swollen after training. I mean, even just after my first fight, I had my leg was blood clot. My leg was clotting from how many times Windland kicked me in the leg for weeks, and it had healed. But it's just I've already feel like invested a lot into the game, and almost feel like I've lost a piece of myself already. I mean, I feel healthy, but I think I owe it to myself. Owe it to God too. He's given me the opportunity to have good health and be able to train at a high level as much as I have been and go out here and perform every time. And that's the plan. That's the goal. So I'm never gonna, I'm never gonna stop. I'm gonna all gas, no brakes. I can't, I don't know how to quit on myself. Something I can't live with. I can lose a fight. I can lose a decision. I could get put away. I could get knocked out. I could get choked out, but you'll never see me walk away. I'm gonna fight forever. I don't. I'm never gonna quit.
That's amazing, Axel. I love listening to that, right? Because I feel like you have you, I always believe that we when we speak something into existence, we manifest our dreams, we speak it into existence. It comes true. It finds us. Our destiny finds us. And I love that you said this because I can see you in the UFC. You're a very knowledgeable fighter. I love that you also learn from the fights that you've had so far.
Yeah,
And I feel like that would just make you better and better as you go along the way.
for sure. Yeah, that's a great point actually because, like you said, I've learned those losses. Actually, I look at those losses as a blessing in disguise because I learned more from those losses than I would have if I won those fights. So ultimately, the losses have just I think they made me better. They put me in a
Mm,
better. They made me work harder. I didn't get comfortable. Had I submitted my first opponent, Winland, on my debut with that triangle choke at the end of the third, who knows if I got a little because I took that fight on. I'd had a jujitsu background. I'd been doing jujitsu for about three and a half, 3 years at that point. So I developed a pretty high level skill set training under a great instructor at that point in time. But as far as training MMA, I hadn't been boxing for I had a few months of boxing, so my stand up was
mm.
really inexperienced at the time and not where it should have been. So who knows if I had put that guy if I had slept in with the choke, the triangle in that first fight, I don't know if I would be who knows if I got a little comfortable and didn't work as hard. And then losing my second fight too, that just that just made me work that much harder because I wasn't gonna lose my third fight. I was not gonna drop 3 fights in a row. I knew that I had to win my third fight. And even though it wasn't the best performance, it was a good performance. I was able to dominate those first 2 rounds, and then I was looking to kill him. I was trying to find the kill, but he was tough.
Mm, mm.
Nestor's good. He has some good technique. He's a good purple belt. He was hard to put away, but I knew that I had to win that fight, and by all means, and so it was good. It just made me work harder. Those losses, I learned more from those losses than I would have if I'd won. So exactly like you said.
That's amazing. Now, Axel, as you keep pursuing your dream as a fighter, you manifested, the big dreams that you have of making it into the UFC. Um, Do you actually have any dream partnerships that you'd like to have? Maybe, once you become pro or once you make it into the UFC, do you have like a sponsor or a product that you want to work with and represent?
Um, yeah, I mean, definitely, I'm looking to get another sponsorship.
Mhm.
For sure. I have one right now. Shout out to Submission, in Malibu, California. Great sponsorship. But that's a good question. I've thought about that. I can't think of exactly what I was thinking about. It'd be cool being sponsored by Red Bull, but I don't really even drink Red Bull as much anymore. So I don't. I think that would have been cooler 6 months ago or a year ago.
Uh-huh.
But no, I don't know, honestly, right now. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a yeah, eventually for sure, but
Yeah.
can't think of anything right now. There's definitely sponsorships that I want, out there.
Yeah. See, now you have to think of that. That way, when you make it into the UFC, you're like, okay, yeah, I want to partner with this brand, you know, and have
Yeah,
them
yeah,
sponsor
yeah,
me.
you're right, for sure. There's definitely, I mean, it would be cool. My teammate Carson Dohan is on Raw Milk, which I think is really cool. I would be down with
Ooh.
Raw shout out Raw Farms, Raw Milk. If you guys wanna sponsor me too, that'd honestly be cool. I love milk. I've always been drinking milk since I was a young kid, and raw milk is even better for us, and that'd be cool. That'd be cool being sponsored by them. Just an idea, but
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. Something to think about for sure.
that's awesome.
Definitely
Raw milk. Call Axel Conrad right now. He loves
raw
raw
milk.
milk.
Yeah, if you guys want, yeah, if you guys want to hit my line and sponsor me for my next fight, I'm, you know,
Yeah, that's amazing.
I'll represent the brand well. I'm as real as it gets. I'm a real fighter. I come to kill or be killed every time I fight. Whether I win or lose, it's gonna be a great fight. And put my life on the line, pour my blood out there, and so it's good. Anyone that wants to sponsor me, uh, you
Call
know,
him. Call Axel Conrad. Now, Axel,
so
before I let you go, um, who are your biggest supporters and what's your message for them?
yeah, my biggest supporters, I would say, gotta gotta shout out my parents for what they've
Mm,
done. They weren't in full support of the career when I started it, just because of how dangerous fighting is, but they've seen how far I've come already just in 5 fights and, the time that I've put into the game and how hard I've worked, and, I gotta show love and respect to my parents, so shout out to them. Um, my my family as a whole, honestly, they just want to see me succeed and make it in this game. So I gotta respect that. And then of course my coaches too, and my teammates. I would say shout out to Thor Skanky and Chris Key, my boxing coach Chris Key, and then my MMA coach Thor Skanky, and he's done a lot for me. I wouldn't be where I am today without Thor. So um, I owe it to him. I owe a lot to him, and all my teammates too. All my teammates over at Pugilist and Axe, from Carson to Weston,
mhm.
uh, to Zach Krasinski, to Paul, to Danny, to Anthony DeSimone, uh, Christian Franco, all these guys. I might have not even mentioned a few of them, but that was about all of them. And then we all help each other get ready for these fights, and they've helped me a lot. Grateful for these guys, and I appreciate them.
Aw, that's amazing. Again, Axel, I'm very happy that you have this kind of support and this group that motivates you, especially for someone like you who has that big dream, right, of
Yeah,
making it into the UFC. Because I know, for someone, who wants to pursue a dream, there's always obstacles and challenges. But when you have a group of people that support you and motivate you, it makes the journey sweeter.
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, no, it's we all feed off of each other, you know. And we
Mhm.
all want to see. We all plan on fighting in the UFC, and it's just a matter of time before we get there and we are winning fights in the UFC and taking over that promotion. And we obviously need to do what we're supposed to do right now and win these fights with UNF. And grateful for UNF too and what they've done for me. And like I said, they've given me a platform to promote my brand and to fight with, and a lot of I think the best amateur promotion in California, to be honest, and a lot of good fighters that fight with them. So it's great. So gonna keep working hard and one step at a time.
That's awesome. One step at a time, Axel. And please do follow Axel Conrad's journey on Instagram at acon underscore dot rad, RAD underscore. I'll put the his Instagram on his under his picture right now too. Axel, thank you so much for joining me right here on the Rain Check. It's really nice to hear your story. And I
Yeah,
love listening to you, man, because like I said earlier, I could tell you really learned a lot from your journey so far and being a young fighter. I do think that this is something that's really going to be helpful for you as you keep pursuing your dreams, Axel. I cannot wait to
yeah.
see you fight on May 31st and announce you again.
Yeah, thank you, Rain. Appreciate your time and my pleasure. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to schedule this interview and for the talk. Good to share the story and give people some insight. I appreciate your time. Thank you, Rain.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Axel. And guys, please do follow Up Next Fighting as well at Up Next Fighting on Instagram. That way you guys can stay updated on news and latest bouts of Axel Conrad and all of our other UNF fighters. Follow me as well at Ringside Rain on Instagram. Again, thank you so much, Axel Conrad, for joining me. He is Axel Conrad. I am Raine Cruz. This is the Rain Check, and we are checking out. Bye.
Bye, Rain. Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.